So, you've clicked on this video to read a newspaper with me. Today's newspaper will show you what people in 1868 were interested in. So it's time to read a vintage newspaper together. Let's read the Oregon State Journal, dated August 22nd, 1868. There is a landlord in Boston who is in the habit of placing an extra fork beside the plate of such boarders as have not paid promptly, being the intimation to fork over likewise. The first Japanese child born outside of Japan for the last 10 centuries was born lately in London. Mr. and Mrs. Hamakari Sadakichi, members of an acrobatic troupe, are the parents. Borax as a detergent. As a means of cleansing the hair, nothing is better than a solution of borax in water. It leaves the scalp in a most cleanly condition, and the hair is sufficiently stiffened to retain its place. This stiffness, however, can be readily removed, if objectionable, by washing with water. Borax is also an excellent dentifrice. Dissolved in water, it is one of the best tooth washes. J. Burroughs says that if we take 50 farmers at random out of any neighborhood and 50 men at random out of any city, town, or village, the 50 farmers will be found superior in intelligence, culture, true refinement, and above all in morality. No doubt of that, he maintains that there is no better place in the world for a gentleman than on the farm. Difference between the sexes. An exchange says, "When a rakish youth goes astray, all the women gather to bring him back to the paths of virtue. Gentleness and kindness are lavished upon him to innocence and peace. No one would suspect he had sinned. But when a poor, confiding girl is betrayed, she receives the brand of society and is therefore driven from the ways of virtue. The betrayer is honored, respected, and esteemed. There is no peace for her this side of the grave." All persons knowing themselves indebted to the undersigned will please pay the same immediately. Pay off old scores and start anew. Short settlements will make long friends. A word to the wise is sufficient. A. Renfrew. "Look a-here, Pete. Don't stand there on the railroad." "Why, Joe?" "'Cause if the cars see that mouth of yours open, they will think it's the depot and run right into it." Mrs. Rugg, a widow, having taken a Mr. Price for her second husband, and being asked how she liked the change, replied, "Oh, I have got rid of my old rug for a good price." Information wanted of William G. Billingsley, who is supposed to be somewhere in the state of Oregon. Any person knowing his whereabouts will confer a favor on his aged father, Samuel Billingsley, whose address is Meridian, Bass County, Texas. Oregon papers will confer a favor upon an old man in search of his son by giving this notice to the public. Suggett's Well. Mr. P. F. Castleman advertises to sell the patent right of Suggett's Well in the state of Oregon. There is no question as to this being the best and most convenient well now in use, as it can never wear out, nothing can ever get into it, and the water is always pure and cold. No chance for it to ever cave in or become dangerous. It is a very complete well and will certainly meet with general favor. City Market, Lucky and Smith, West Side, Willamette Street, keeps constantly on hand the best of all kinds of meats, fresh and cured, and fish and lard. It is rumored that the smallpox is prevailing among the Indians on the Tulalip Reservation. Skedaddled. Last Sunday morning, a man by the name of Blackenhorn, who has been running the St. Charles Bakery, left the city and has not returned. He hired a horse at the livery stable of Mr. Titus, which he left at Albany without the saddle. There he took another horse that has since been found in Salem. Dr. Renfrew of the St. Charles Hotel is the heaviest loser by his leaving, the doctor having fitted up a bakery for him and went his security to the amount of about $200. Mr. George Tucker, a young man residing about 10 miles below this place, was severely hurt one day last week by getting entangled in the rigging of a threshing machine. His overshirt was caught by a revolving rod, which rapidly drew him around it, and had it not been for the instant stopping of the horses, would no doubt have caused his death in a very short time. However, he escaped without dangerous injury. No bones, with the exception of one rib, which was broken, were injured. Dr. Wood attended him and informs us that he is out of danger. The one-legged tightrope walker, Mr. Dehone, walked a rope stretched across the street at the height of the floor of the second story of the buildings. He says he intends to walk a rope across the Willamette River at Portland in October. The more a woman's waist is shaped like an hourglass, the quicker will the sands of her life run out. If you're liking my channel, I encourage you to check out my second channel. It is Life in the 1900s Newspapers. Much obliged.